So time to make a video based off of your requests, and I'll try to get through as many as I can, and we'll see what we can do. But essentially, some of the requests we just did a video on in our podcast with Cantonese Cat and Tesla trackers. So one of them was Nvidia, and I'll just touch on it real quick. That basically, I want to see it keep these 120 levels right here, and if it doesn't, then I can expect it to maybe go down to these levels down here, around maybe the 110 or 106, 105, around this zone basically, if that 120 doesn't hold. But if that 120 does hold, then I can see possibly going back up to 144, and there could be some resistance up there before it breaks through. So the things are looking pretty bullish. And next we'll go to, let's see, Hyns. We'll do Hyns here. And Hyns is looking like, here is on linear scale. It's looking pretty good, pretty bullish, right? And we can see why things are stopping out right here. When you go back to the previous all-time high back here at $24, it basically wicked above it, and now it's closing candles below. And we're trying to break this orange level here. And if this week can continue to close above, there's a possibility to break this previous all-time high. But if not, it could come back down to retest this 45 into the 19s or the 18s or so before it tries to push above. But this chart looks really bullish. And would I be buying here? Not really, because it's kind of a resistance zone, right? It would really have to start closing candles above this previous all-time high. And I'd like to see candles start closing into the arcs above to maintain its bullishness. So we'll keep an eye on this. But so far, it's looking pretty good, but it's at a resistance level. And next we're going to do open door. So I've got a lot of requests about some stocks that are similar, that are below the Ichimoku, that are below a lot of things. And here the GAN doesn't really help us too much, but essentially what I can see is price falling down to the purple angle, maybe around like the 150s or 160s or so, before it can break above. But if we look on the weekly chart for Hyns, we can see that this conversion line has been resistance for many, many weeks, many months, and there's not going to be any bullish momentum until it can start closing candles above that conversion line, which currently sits at 226. So do I like this stock? No. Is it still making higher lows? Technically, yes, it's still making higher lows from the bottom here, but we'll see. Like, there's really no bullish momentum on this, but like I said, if it can start closing candles above that 226 on a weekly basis, then possibly it can get back up into the $3 range towards the Ichimoku cloud. So not really that bullish, but what can you do, right? What can you do? And let's see. Okay, we'll do Upstart. And some of these I'll go pretty fast just because they're not bullish, right? We don't really need a GAN for this one just because it's telling you the same thing. For Upstart, it is staying underneath the conversion line. And when we zoom in a little bit, we can see exactly it tried to break above, but that was a fake out. So any bullish momentum will start to have to close candles above that 25.43 zone, and then could push up towards the 30.75, the baseline, where it will probably get rejected again. So there's really no bullish momentum on open door either. So it could be, or sorry, on Upstart either. So it could be the same as open door, where it just keeps battling resistance and doesn't break higher, right? And Crowdstrike, CRWD. Now this one is actually looking pretty good. So we have the linear scale pulled up. We can see the symmetry pretty perfectly, hitting this angle, going up to each angle, flipping this 45-degree angle to support. And now it's kind of gravitating to the orange line, and that's around 400. So I think that'll be the target in the short term, is $400. And if it can close candles above it, it'll probably get some momentum. But if we look if we look here, this probably will be a good resistance level for some time. So possibly what I'll see is hitting this level, then maybe consolidating back down to maybe the mid to low 300s, and then possibly even retesting the 45 before things go up. But in the short term, I still think there's possibility to continue higher. But in the longer term, I think there's going to be more consolidation as $400 is looking like it's probably going to be some resistance for some time. And if we go to log scale here for Crowdstrike, CRWD, that is looking like the same thing, right? You go up here, that is like 400, the top of the angle, right? So there's no difference there. This angle has been resistance. You can clearly see it. So it's matching exactly what it's saying on linear scale, and possibly could come back down to test the arc, and that would be the low 300s, right? So it's kind of matching similar to linear scale, and it's already retested basically this previous breakout of the blue. So I don't see price going back there necessarily, but it is possible to come back to the arc or something like that. But we're looking at a possible soon resistance, so there's no hurry to buy this one, in my opinion, because it could just consolidate before it breaks out even further. And I see an RXRX on there, and same situation as some of the others where it's under the cloud, and it is making some higher lows here, so that is a good thing, and it is trying to close back above the conversion line here. But we can see the resistance clearly of the baseline, and we can see the resistance of the cloud. And even if we add on the SMAs here, we can see that it's still trying to battle the 50 week, which is at 922 and it's at 938. But these are weekly candle closes, right? So if it can close above that 922, then that'll be good. But if it doesn't, then it might still be sandwiched in between a range there. And if we zoom in, we can see that the range is very tight. But nonetheless, still some resistance with the cloud, still some resistance with the baseline up here. So it's got a lot. It got a lot of work to do before it even battles these upper 15s and stuff in the future. And I see an ask for CLSK. I did talk about CLSK in the video to this morning or this evening for you guys. But essentially, this is stuck in a range, right? It's stuck right in the middle of the conversion line and baseline and below that orange angle. So that is essentially the resistance zone. Once it can break above 1745, 1750 on a weekly close basis, which we really haven't seen in a long time, right? It's been stuck in this range for a long, long time. So once that happens, then I think it'll be able to break out towards the $25, $26, $27, $28 range. But until then, it's just going to be range bound, and where the buying opportunity, in my opinion, would be down in the low 15s or mid to low 15s. And if it does not hold this baseline, then prices could go closer to the 13s as well. So we'll keep an eye on that level, but so far it is just range bound. And the next one, I did talk about it already, is GME. We talked about that in the podcast. So you can watch the full detail there, but essentially it's just stuck right here in between. This, not really in between, it hit support right here on this angle, and the resistance is up here. So buying support, selling resistance still is working out for Gamestop. But if it does lose this angle, then watch out below, because there could be some volatility and price could fall down to the 15s or the 14s in the future. So this angle is imperative to hold, in my opinion, because if it doesn't, then it'll go. But if it holds, then it could go back up to the 50s and the 60s, right? I see a request for CHLH. I don't think that's anything though. Yeah, that's nothing. Maybe it's Celsius. Celsius Holdings, maybe. Yeah, so we'll just do Celsius Holdings because I don't know what that CHLH is. So we'll do CELH just for fun, and we can see that it came back to support. Right? It hit. Like if we just take these off really quickly, we'll add them back on, but clearly market symmetry has been working perfectly for Celsius Holdings. It just went up This 45 the whole time was support, then blasted through to the arcs, came back down to the blue to the arc. That was resistance, right? Now it's back at support. It's wicking through the 45 now, so this has the potential to still close the week above, right? So we'll still watch that maybe around $57 or so. But this is looking kind of like a buy zone. And could it come back down here? It's a possibility to the bottom arc, but I think right now it could be a pretty solid buy zone. So we'll see how this week closes. But when we add on the other indicators here, we get more confidence that this is a buy zone because of the Ichimoku, right? Right here. The top of the cloud is hit. And if it does get to the 49.64 of the 100-week moving average, then that would be even more of a buy opportunity, in my opinion. So the accumulation zone has already started, in my opinion, for Celsius. If you want to start buying, this is the opportunity in this zone right here, from 49 up to current price. I think it looks pretty good. And I think that's probably about it for the stocks. Oh, there's a few more. MBLY, Mobileye. Same situation. We don't need it again for this one. The conversion line, it's stuck under resistance, massive resistance above. So essentially nothing positive is going to happen until it starts closing candles back above the 29.14 level. But even still, it's done that before, but then it got rejected of these levels up here. So we know where resistance is. It's in this zone up here. So there's really no reason to rush on buying this one. It is at a long-term support level, so if it does get down a little bit lower into the 25s or 24s maybe, that could be a really good opportunity just because this level has proven to be a demand zone, right? So we know where support is and we know where resistance is, so nothing really exciting about that. And we'll do Palantir, PLTR. And again, it's wicking. Last week it wicked above support. Like I said last week, it was a convenient timing of the downgrade, right? Just to make it close below resistance and not break out. So somebody wants to keep the price lower, and that's what's happening in my opinion. So it's probably going to be still under this resistance arc for some time. And we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weekly green candles in a row. So after it hits it again, possibly, it could come back down again and retest levels before it finally breaks out. So this is just range bound. We know where resistance is up here at the $25 level, and support is down here at the $21.60, $21.50 level. So it's kind of a big range, but it is looking still very, very bullish, right? All right, so now let's do some crypto. Crypto. Let's go here. And the first one we'll do is, what's on the list here? NOIA. So NOIA is really approaching a support level here. The 50-week moving average is right there, and is trying to hold this arc as a support level too. So essentially it's in a demand zone here. I would personally like it more down on this level where these candles are. So that would be more of this zone right here, like around the 8 cent to the 10 cent zone, maybe even down to the 7 cent where this 100 week is. Just because you can see with these candles here, all these candles is more of a demand zone than current price. So that's what I would like to see, because I don't know if price will really stop at this 50-week moving average. But so far it is following market symmetry nicely with the angles as resistance and the arcs, and also this angle down here was a nice support and resistance zone as well. And let's do LEET, Cyber LEET. Somebody asked for that. Yeah, same situation as a lot of the stocks. It's under everything, under the 50-week, under the conversion baseline, everything. Nothing positive is going to happen with this chart until it starts breaking above probably the 50-week moving average right up here in this zone. And once it can break into the cloud is when it'll have a possibility to get higher. But right now it's not a bullish chart. It's stuck under levels, so it's just going to be taking some time. And we'll do, let's see, TRIAS. TRIAS is at a demand zone right now, support zone. The 100 week has held as a support. I personally was hoping for maybe like a 450, 460 around here, like a wick through here. So I think that's still a possibility. But right now, we know where support is in this zone, and we know resistance is going to be up here in the 750s, 760s, maybe even 780s or the $8 range, right? So support and resistance right now because of these confluences up here. And we'll go to next, we'll go to API 3. API 3, same situation. It's at a support zone. Right there, it hit the 50 week, it hit the blue angle, it wicked through, and now it's looking maybe to close weeks above, or this week above. So this is support, maybe even down to here to 181. That'll be support too, but we know where support is, and resistance is going to be the 280s and up to the 320s up here. This is going to be resistance right there. And we'll do another one, WTK. So this one had a nice bounce off of support. And if you guys remember, I put a post on X. I'll show that to you real quick. So the post right here, like it said, it looks like WTK has found its first resistance level. And if you look at the chart here, we can see that GAN worked perfectly with this angle as a resistance, and it still was resistance. And that was at 775. And if you guys remember going through the comments, and they're like, draw that better. It's flipped to support, and then it's support, and looks like support. Everybody in the comments was saying it was support, but this is the power of GAN, right? The power of GAN is shows you future resistance levels, and sure enough, it was. And then what do we know back here? On June 14th, I said WTK finally nearing the support of the blue angle, and it did go down there. That was at 0.0283, and it did finally wick through it, right? And I'll show you right here, going back to my chart. Back to the chart here, we can see that it did wick through my blue angle right there. Nothing changed, and it did even go touch the 100-week moving average exactly 2 weeks in a row, right? So the power of GAN, we saw this go up here. This was resistance. I called it out. I called out this is support, and what just happened? Yes, it basically rocketed through the resistance of this, and now it even back tested the 50-week moving average, and now it's going back to the 45-degree angle. So we know where support is, and it's approaching the first resistance of the 45, maybe around 4.8, and then more resistance here in the 5, and then even more resistance up at that angle up there. So that worked perfectly, and yeah, so just be prepared for some resistance up above. And we'll go to render. Render. All right, so render, it's not looking that great, right? It lost support. It lost support not only of this angle, it lost support of this conversion line and the baseline. So that means this is resistance up here at 860. And what that means is it might come back up here and people get excited again to the 850 or even $9 range, but then it could just roll over, come back to the 50-week moving average or the 45-degree angle, which is in the $5 range, right? So that's really what I'm looking for, maybe a $5 render, because this is now resistance, this whole zone right here. Unless there can be just one giant bullish engulfing candle to get above the resistance, I'm going to assume this is resistance because it's under. And so I will think that because of this, price gravitates to the path of least resistance, which currently still is down, right? Which also could be like an A, B, C correction, making a lower low here before the bottom is found, right? And we'll do check. Checked. This one lost support, right? It lost support of a lot of things. And so that means there's lots of resistance above. So it was looking like for a chance this 100 week, this blue line was going to hold, but it never held. And now that bearish engulfing candle right here just made a lower low, and this is trying to recover a little bit. But what I'm really seeing is there's more of a demand zone down here in the 2 cent, 3 cent range before any recovery, just because there's massive resistance here. So the path of least resistance is maybe up temporarily, then roll over to continue down to this demand zone right down here. And I see a request for ADS. And ADS is looking like it's losing support as well, right? So whatever price is doing right now, it still lost the support of the 100 week, this blue line, and it lost support of the blue angle going up. So it lost multiple support levels in one bearish candle, and now price is working its way back up towards that 100 week, maybe even the angle, but it's looking like it's going to be resistance now. So the possibility for this to go lower to the bottom of the cloud in the 8 cent range is still pretty high. So we'll keep that in mind. But if can start closing weekly candles back above the 100 or the blue line, then possibility it can go higher, but there's a lot of resistance above now. So the path of least resistance is up a little bit and then probably roll over down towards the bottom of the cloud. So we'll keep an eye on that. And I see a request for JASMY. And JASMY, the chart looks really good. It just got rejected in resistance here with that angle. Now it's getting rejected by this angle as resistance. So we know where resistance is. It's here and it's here. That means it might roll over to continue down towards the baseline and this angle around 2.5 cents. And that's my next support zone, right? If this doesn't hold, it'll come down here. And if that doesn't hold, down here. But one level at a time, right? So far, this is the next support zone. So now it's currently at resistance right now. Let's see. I see a request for CRO. Yeah, CRO is at a support right now. It's at the 100 week and it's at the bottom of the cloud. So this is a buy zone right here. Right now it's a buy zone, and the sell zone would be up in 11.5 cents, maybe up to 12 cents with this 45-degree angle. So we know where support is. If that breaks, it'll come down to the 7 cent zone. But we know where support is currently, and resistance is up here. So buy support, sell resistance. That's very simple. And we got a few more that we'll do before we call it a day. And the next one is going to be Nexera, NXRA. Yeah, this one lost a lot of support too. Lost the cloud, lost the 50-week, lost the conversion line a long time ago. And now it's trying to find support right here with the red angle. This is kind of getting into a demand zone though. If you look to the left, we can see these candles here in the 5 cent, 6 cent zone. So anywhere from current price down to maybe 5 cents, that's a good buy zone for Nexera for a possible continuation up, because the next resistance is still up here in the 10, 11 cent zone. And let's see, Arai. Yeah, it's on its way to the 50 in my opinion. $7.50, $7.50, maybe even 6.80 or 6.50, right? Because it lost the resistance here, or it lost the support of the 45, it lost the support of these, and so price is probably going to gravitate lower until we get to this 50-week or a little bit low, right? So this is what I currently see for Arai. And we'll do AZERO. I see that request. And AZERO found some support almost at the purple angle. And if we look to the left of the chart, where is the demand zone? Well, it could be right in this current price, right? it did wick below 2 weeks in a row, but now the candles are still closing above this wick right here. So this is a possibility that things can hold, right? So if this candle and future candles can close above this, then there's a possibility to continue higher into the 70s, where there's going to be some resistance in this zone, and then more resistance up here, and eventually like 105 or up to 108. That'll be a lot of resistance too. But one level at a time for resistance, but support is around here so far, so it looks okay. And let's see, we'll do one more, and it's going to be Casper. Casper looks the best out of everything, really. It's holding levels. It's 100% bullish. It's even breaking above the conversion and the baseline again back here. It even started. So it's holding that as support. So this is support. Like the 14-cent zone or even 15-cent, that's the support. But we can see resistance with these wicks, right? These wicks are resistance. And if price can close above this candle up here, above 19 cents, then I think there's a clear path for this zone up here that I have highlighted into the 29 or 30-cent zone. But so far, this chart is looking the best out of all of them. And I think that there's lots of room to run, especially if this support holds. So those are my reviews for the stocks and the crypto. So most of the charts are looking pretty good. Some are at support right now. Some are currently battling resistance. But that's the summary so far. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.